yacht club from staying for 2 nights, and this is our last Canadian stop at night. We're heading to Port Angeles today to do our border check-in, and we will not be in Canada for a very long time again. Our US check-in has been approved now, and we can sail on into Port Angeles. No one's gonna come aboard, or they didn't want to meet us at all. We just did a quick little video call through the app, and they asked us a couple questions, wanted to see our what did they want to see? The boat registration. And then that was about it. Now we're cleared.
I almost hoisted it upside down.
About 7 in the morning, and we are headed out into the strait to have our big 50-mile day up to Neah Bay. It's probably going to take us like 14 hours to get there, so it'll be a long one. We'll hope that the weather is good, the wind direction is good, so we don't have to tack too much, and we can get there as efficiently as possible. So we're nearly out of the bay, just outside of Port Angeles. We're just coming out into the strait again. And there is some serious fog that we'll be going through very soon. That is just a full bank of fog, just a straight up wall of opaque. And we're gonna go in there.
So we have about 45 miles to go, and I'm expecting it's going to be pretty foggy the whole time. It's supposed to pick up to 20 to 30 this evening in the east and central strait, but the west entrance is supposed to be calmer, so hopefully by then we'll be on the west end in Neah Bay tonight. Actually some nice wind now.
So after 9 hours of motoring today, we finally made it to Neah Bay. We had to motor because there's no wind, and this was the only destination left on that part of the coastline that we could get to. So we needed to come here, and if we tried to sail, it would have taken much longer. And we wanted to get here at a reasonable time so we could get here before the sun goes down and find a good spot to anchor. So we're here now and it's about 5:30 and we're gonna take the dinghy off the boat and go to shore and explore. Neah Bay seems like a very tiny but cute little fishing town. So we'll just go stretch the legs and see what we see. So we walked, took all of 5 minutes to get to one edge of town, sussed out the gas dock situation for tomorrow, and there's not much here, so we just walked back, but it's a very cute, sleepy little town. It very much, seems like it's very much here purely for the fishing industry and not much else. But everybody that we passed seemed really friendly and everybody said hi. I always notice things like that, so that's nice. So now we're just doing one evening stroll of the docks just for something to do, and then we'll go back to the boat, make dinner, and yeah, hopefully we don't have too rolly of an evening with the wind coming into the bay, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
So 20 hours. 6 is 32 liters. Did we only use 32 liters? So after kind of clawing around Cape Flattery under motor, because there was almost no wind, and whatever there was right on the nose, we got out into more like a south. Oh no, it's from the west, but it's pretty strong. And it's nice and lumpy because we're so close to the coast still, so we're looking forward to the swells to get nice and long and flatten out a little bit. For now we're triple reefed and maybe half of the Genoa out, and the wind vane is doing fine work. Yeah. The wind's supposed to subside for later in the day, so looking forward to that.
So the sun came out, obviously, and the winds are much more comfortable and reasonable, and the sea state is also much more comfortable and reasonable compared to this morning. And we just had our first meal at sea, which I did not film any of because I wasn't really in the mood to do that. It was a bit annoying to cook, to be honest. Everything was moving and boiling water felt dangerous, and I had to chase all the little broccoli florets everywhere so they didn't roll onto the floor. But the sunset is looking beautiful.
Okay, it's Monday morning, almost still. It's almost noon. And Laura just did her first night passage. And we're going into Astoria because the winds are going to be fluky for a few nights and then it's going to get really strong on Wednesday, and we'd rather not be sailing in that. So unfortunately, our hopes to do one big shot towards San Francisco don't seem to make too much sense this time around. And we're going to go see some towns along the way, which will be nice as well. So we've got just over 30 miles left to go, and we're going to try and keep the speed up. We've got beautiful kind of full canvas conditions, very low swell. The wind vane has been fantastic, just wobbling along there. And yeah, we just had a nice breakfast and coffee. Boat's pretty happy.
Dinner is served. Okay, to get into Astoria, we have to cross the Columbia River Bar, which is supposed to be quite unpleasant and difficult to get through. And decently high winds and not like enormous waves, but definitely steep enough to make it uncomfortable and wet. So yeah, hoping that we have a non-eventful bar crossing.
So yesterday I think we got pretty lucky with the bar. It was max flood, but only about 1.5 knots, so not a very strong flood. But it was blowing from the west, probably mid-20s, and steep short seas. And we managed to kind of sail around most of it just with the head sail, and then yeah, caught the last of that flood in, and then realized there was a pretty strong wind from the east blowing in the anchorage where all the tankers were set up, and we just dropped the hook there with the tankers. We had a nice rolly evening, and then lifted the anchor with a fair amount of struggle against the current and the wind that was still there, and then just tied up to the marina at the West Basin in Astoria here.
Yeah, it was so beautiful last night. We came in at sunset, there's pelicans everywhere, and they're like flying, and then they dive into the water, and it was really, really beautiful. And now we get to spend the day exploring Astoria and being tourists and going to see what's around and having a lovely day in the sun. I am freshly showered, which feels amazing after having a week of no shower or something like, well, not quite a week, but a while. And we went to the corner store to get a beer because you can do that in the States, which is a weird concept. And now we're going to go enjoy them on the beautiful sunset. And that concludes our first day in Astoria.